Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey, everybody, it's Screw the Commute podcast. This is episode number 15 with superstar Rayne Parvis. I'm thrilled that she's on. She's one of my favorite people in the world, and get to that in a little bit. Also, you got to check out our last episode with superhero Barbara Cookson. She's a speaker that dresses up like a superhero and has just a great lifestyle business you'll want to hear about. And then that's episode 14, episode 13, you definitely want to take my training session on copywriting. It's the number one skill in my entire business career that's made me tons of money. So check that out in episode 13. Now, our sponsor today is the WordPress e-course. You can learn to make world-class websites for $20 or less. Save yourself thousands of dollars in web creation and maintenance fees. Plus, you get to talk to my tech staff if you need help getting started. Check it out at greatinternetmarketing.com/WordPress e-course. We'll have that in the show notes over at screwthecommute.com. All right, let me tell you about Rayne Parvis. She is a Los Angeles-based certified personal stylist, style coach, and media personality. And when I say personality, she's got it. And an author of The Ultimate Guide to Style from Drab to Fab. She entered the fashion industry as a fit model over 15 years ago, after which she began consulting for established bathing suit and lingerie brands. As a personal stylist, she works with all types, innovative branding agencies, top headshot photographers, matchmaking companies, singles who are ready to mingle, and busy parents, all these people, busy professionals who desire a more polished image, or just the everyday soul who yearns for image confidence. She's been featured as a style expert on all kinds of media, including LA Fashion Magazine. Hey, that's she's in the heart of image and fashion, and she's becoming a really well-known name there. She's been on national radio shows, online and in print. When she's not auditing a closet or helping homeless pets find homes, she's hanging with her family and connecting with her other girl bosses. And I'm not sure exactly what that means. However, I got a question. Rayne, are you ready to screw the commute? I don't want to get in trouble.
My answer is yes.
Yay. So tell everybody a little bit about what you do.
Sure. Well, basically, I coach people on how to dress for the life they want with closet audits, color consultations, and fashion styling, all while making them feel very comfortable and laughing at the same time.
Well, tell me what a closet audit is. What exactly is that?
A closet audit is when I come into your closet and I take a look at what's happening right where you're faltering, where you're feeling, why you chose certain things that maybe you don't wear anymore. And then I basically pull out anything that you really shouldn't be wearing and can't be saved. So you're left with only clothes that fit and flatter you.
Now, did you ever throw up when you got into one of those closets? You would mind, I tell you that.
Throw up? No, but I have giggled before with the stuff that I find in there.
Are they watching you when you're doing this?
Sometimes they are watching me, and then sometimes they're off doing their own thing. So if I ever run into something that maybe I know that they wouldn't want me to see, I just kind of bypass it real quick and move on, but I do giggle.
Well, do you run into the people that like, oh, I can't throw that away. Oh, no, I can't. I've had that. Do you run into that where they just can't part with certain things that are just hideous?
Absolutely. And how I kind of get over that hump is I always say, okay, you're the boss. And then we kind of go back to it. But usually when I show them why something doesn't work, or I point out, hey, look, the armpit stains are yellow. Or when you get in this, why does it remind you of your ex-husband and you're trying to move on from that chapter of your life? So I usually do a little bit of style coaching in there. And then they're more likely to kind of discard it.
You win them over time, huh?
Absolutely.
So I know the answer to this, but tell people about your past in the working world, in the hideous job world.
I recently did another podcast yesterday, and the woman said, when I Googled you, I saw how many jobs you have and had. And I said, oh, that's interesting. And yeah, so I've had many, many jobs, everything from receptionist to filer to most recently working with other branding companies, which I think that we're going to get into later, working for them and getting clients and referrals through them. So then I'm also listed on their websites and all that kind of stuff. So yes, I've had many jobs over the day. I mean, sometimes 3 or 4 companies at a time.
Now, one of the things you mentioned was a fit model. What exactly is that? Are you one of those perfect sizes that everybody wants to fit their clothes on?
Absolutely not. Most fit models are, well, there are your small, medium, and large, like basic fit models, but then there's the ones that you really need to have like certain measurements. Like, for example, okay, I can't believe I'm going to start off talking about this, but I was a natural double D, which is very rare. And then I had a smaller waist. And then, so I fit the double D lingerie bathing suit community, which is a rare size. So if anyone out there who has a rare size, there's a place for you, and you can make a decent money doing that I've been doing that for over 15 years.
Wow. Just for double Ds, but it has to be
Yes.
natural.
Yes, you can't. Most companies don't want fakies.
Fakies? Is that the new term for it? Fakies.
I'm just trying not to offend anybody, but yes, most companies want you to be all natural. No butt implants, no boob implants, no ribs removed, nothing like that. They want real bodies.
Well, I guess then that's you. And I know you were very busy working, doing that, but tell them where you were when I met you.
When I met you, I was just getting out of the stand-up comedian world, and I was looking for something else to do, and I won you at a seminar, and here I am 8 years later.
You won me.
I did.
Aren't you lucky? So, but things weren't going that well for you at the time, right?
I was living in my parents' garage, $15,000 in debt, and literally teaching myself how to juggle, do resumes, because I didn't know if I was going to go back to being an assistant for somebody or receptionist. And it was just, I had nothing going for me.
So I tried to kick your perfectly sized butt a little bit. And I remember being in a hotel lobby and telling you have to write a book. And you were sitting there, I can't write a book. I can't. And I'm like, will you just shut up and sit down there and make the chapter headings right now? Don't talk to me.
I remember that. And for those of you who do follow me on social media, you probably see a lot of my spelling mistakes. So,
that's all right.
I can barely put together a sentence, even though I did graduate college. And yes, I got through it. We wrote the book. It was the best thing that literally makes me stand out in a saturated business in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's a wonderful book. You put all kinds of effort into it. It's gorgeous. And you did a crowdfunding thing to finance, because you kept saying, well, I don't have the money to print a book. Well, we found a way, right?
Yes. And you also made me do that. And it was very successful. And it's so funny how you can really accomplish big things when you don't want to let other people down. I didn't want to let you down being your student. So I just said, okay, whatever Tom says, I'll just do it. And if I fail, I'll blame him.
That's fair. That's totally fair. But I remember, I don't know, $4,500 or $5,000 came in or something and kicked off the printing of the book, right?
Absolutely. And you taught us also how to do the steps in that as well. Everything from mentioning people on social media to having a prize after everybody donates. And you just really were a great help with that as well.
Yeah,
which I would have never, ever done by myself, because it would have been too embarrassing. But it was fun.
Well, yeah, but you now have a beautiful social media. I see it all the time. And you really have, so maybe I kicked your butt a little bit, but then you took off and ran with it. And the postings that you make on social media are just gorgeous. And things that I would never in a million years have an eye for. You make beauty out of it. So you're really, really great at that. So if somebody was out there in a cubicle thinking about leaving their job, what kind of and starting their own business, what kind of advice would you give them?
I would say use, and I mean this in a very kind way, use your 9 to 5 or the job that you have to parlay your career and pay for stuff that you're going to need in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, even though I was starting from nothing, if I had a job that was 9 to 5, I would stay there, save money to pay for programs, whether it's getting certified, taking Tom's program, paying, getting all your kind of ducks in a row and saving maybe 6 months worth of your rent, of income and extra for those extra things that are going to come up along the way. Like, for example, I'm getting my color certification class right now. I think that was $1,000. I took a personal styling mastery class. That was $2,000. So I'm just always educating myself. And so to start off with quitting with no nest egg, I would definitely not recommend it. So use your 9 to 5 job to pay to get you started with your new business.
Perfect advice. Because, we never recommend anything that's ridiculous and risky, especially if they have a family. You got to keep the bills paid. This is a lifestyle business. It's just so nice to make your own schedule and everything. However, one of the reasons I was excited about having you on, I heard of a collaboration you're doing with a national brand that was exciting to me. That's because most of the people I deal with just do their own business and that's it. But you made a really smart move here. Tell them about that. You don't have to tell them who yet because we don't want to jinx anything.
Sure. Well, as you go into your business and the way that you like to run things, you're definitely going to find what you're amazing at and what you're not so great at. So one of the things that I'm not really great at, like Tom is great at, is collecting email addresses, producing online programs where you can really catch a lot of people. I just haven't mastered that yet, which I plan on doing. So what I am great at is developing loyalty and relationships with other people, brands, influencers that are bigger and better and more successful than me. Everything from headshot photographers, matchmaking agencies, talk show people, and then with this big brand that, no, I have not announced it yet. This is just, they have 50 plus years in the fashion business. I'll be able to get leads from them. I'll be able to show up personal style people all day long, be their on-camera host, all these things that I feel like it's going to be a great opportunity. So even with the other brands that I've worked for, I would wake up just like you, Tom, you wake up with orders, right?
Mm-hmm,
From all your
mm-hmm.
from all your products. I wake up with referrals from people that I haven't even talked to because they sold and pitched the service to me. I do it and I collect my checks. So as you go along, everybody's story is going to be a little bit unique and different. So I've always reached out to companies knowing that didn't have that huge email database to refer people to me because I'm not there yet.
Perfect, though, because it's basically joint venturing in my world where you go to somebody that's already blazed the trail and bring something to the table that's of interest to them and they promote you. I've put a lot of people on the map like that. And it's a perfect idea, especially in that cutthroat city you live in, right? Having a big power behind you is really something.
Absolutely. Yes. So always go for the bigger, better people and then just be, don't be shady.
Exactly. Right.
Don't try to nickel and dime someone that's giving you free publicity and free referrals that you didn't have to work for.
Now, I'm going to put you on the spot here and have you give us some 3 general style tips for people in business. What things should they pay attention to nowadays?
For people in business, I would definitely say colors. I feel a lot of people know your color palette. That's color analysis. I feel a lot of people wear black a lot, or they wear colors that just kind of bring them down and make them look tired and drab. And when we're looking to somebody to invest in and buy from, we're looking for, do they look like they're great at their business? Do they look like they have a life together? So for example, I'm a personal stylist, so no one's going to hire me to style them if I show up just looking disheveled and a hot mess. So 1 would be color, 2 would be fit, and another thing would be dress 1 step above your clientele market. again, so for example, my clientele isn't celebrities. My clientele is everyday people who are entrepreneurs, moms in business, not actors, but like people that are investing in maybe like a business photo shoot. So I'm not going to show up in like 8-inch high heels and, stuff that just came off the Paris runway as I would maybe for a celebrity styling job. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
I'm just stepping quite above where they are versus going up. And like, for example, if you're a real estate agent and your clientele is in Malibu, you're probably not going to show up in a suit head to toe with all this stuff on. You're going to be a little bit more relaxed and dressed to fit that community.
Right. Yeah. You have to know your clientele, basically, right?
Yes, absolutely. Those are my 3 tips.
Awesome. So what do you like best about working for yourself, and what's worst?
What I like best for working about myself is all the different types of people that I meet and being able to say no. If you work for somebody and you don't want to do something, you have to do it or you're going to get fired.
Right.
When you work for yourself, if you run across someone that maybe you don't want to work with, or there's a task that you don't want to do, you can definitely do it. And then, or you could do it or you cannot do it. And then what was the other question?
No, well, what was best and what's worst? Yeah. So the best part is you can, blow people off if you don't want. And what's the worst part?
The worst part is, I guess it would have to be having nobody to answer to.
Yeah, because you just said a little while ago you didn't want to let somebody down. That's why
So
when times got tough, you came through.
Yes, it's a catch-22, right? Because obviously no one's going to yell at you if you make mistakes and all that kind of stuff, which is also the best. I can't stand being yelled at or talked down to, or 9 to 5 looking at the clock. I'm very like, if I don't want to do this, I'll move on to something else. And you can't do that at a job, right?
Right.
So yeah, the worst definitely would be having to be by yourself a lot and to really hit those certain goals by yourself and pushing yourself versus being, that's why I do like being part of your community, Tom, and having kind of having mentors are a little bit above me to kind of keep me going.
Okay, great. So anything funny happen when you're going through people's closets or what, in your line of work?
I would have to say, well, that's fun stuff all the time, more about just making people laugh. But I think the biggest, and this is a moral story too, is I shot headshots about, oh my gosh, like 10 years ago from a certain photographer, and I'll mention her because she's awesome, Vonnie Poirier. And I got the photos back and I hated them. And she's the best #1 headshot photographer in Los Angeles, but I just went up through a breakup. So I had dyed my hair and got a haircut like a few days before. And I was wearing clothes that were not mine to like be businessy. Okay. So here I was 5 years, 6 years, 10 years later, writing an article on what not to do for a photo shoot for business people, or for anyone, which is changing your hair a week before, that's haircut, color, wearing other people's clothes, like hiring a personal stylist or shopping for yourself and stuff that you wouldn't be in normally. So you're going to not look like yourself. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I did everything that you're not supposed to do. And it was not Bonnie's fault. It was my fault. So I sent her an apology email because obviously today I would not write an awful email like that. But I wrote her an email saying, your photos are horrible. I asked you not to shoot me this way, whatever. It was awful. And I wrote her an apology letter and she goes, Rayne, I always loved you. I accept your apology. And I'm actually looking for a stylist in town. Would you like to be my stylist? So I thought that was awesome because 10 years later, I apologized. And then she ended up sending me referrals. And now I'm her go-to stylist.
There you go. So it's good to mea culpa sometime.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So we got to take a brief break to hear from our sponsor. And the sponsor is me. One thing I want you to do, folks, is don't tell me you can't do this, what I'm going to tell you about. I had an 82-year-old create her own website. So save yourself the money, save yourself unacceptable delays by putting your own site up anytime you want with a tiny investment. Don't get robbed by overpriced web firms. Plus, you can try all kinds of ideas that would be too risky to try if you had to pay thousands for a website. I've eulogy books and wedding books that wouldn't even exist had I had to spend a couple grand on the websites. It would have been too risky. Plus, you get my course, you can get to talk to my tech guys to help you get started. Check it out at greatinternetmarketing.com/WordPress e-course. And that'll be in the show notes along with all Rayne stuff that we'll tell you about later. So back to Rayne. What's a typical day look like for you, Rayne?
Internet, computer, answering emails, social media.
Yeah, but I know you work
smiling,
out.
all that kind of stuff.
I know.
Yes, of course I work out.
And you take care of doggies. I just love that about you because we're both animal nuts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, my cats are everything.
Oh,
They're
is that the girls that your
day.
new bosses? Is that what you're talking about?
They're my new assistants.
Because in your introduction it said your new bosses, and I'm saying, what are you talking about?
Oh my gosh, no. Future girl bosses. So my other women entrepreneurs friends. That's what I meant by that.
I thought you were about the cats.
No, but I do love cats and animals, and they are a big part of my day.
Yeah, and tell them about your work with the LA. Is it LA Homeless Shelter or what?
East Valley Animal Shelter.
Mm-hmm.
I've volunteered for them tons and tons of times at their adoption centers. And I'm also a big fan of when I'm driving in LA. So if you live in LA, you're driving a lot. I'm always looking for animals to rescue off the street. I got my last cat, Goldie, off the Golden State Freeway. I picked her up, risked my life. It was crazy. Yeah. So I named her after the freeway where I found her. And I'm just always looking for animals to rescue on the street. That is also a big part of my day as well. And I'm a big fan of taking furniture and refurbishing it as well.
Oh,
repurposing everything.
Oh, that's nice. Are you pretty good at that?
Yes, and I'm embarrassed to say my mommy still helps me.
Well,
she's the one with the sander.
Awesome, yeah.
So yes.
All right. So what are you promoting nowadays? What are things that people could buy off you?
I'm really, really, really loving my Skype consultations with entrepreneurs in order to get them ready for meetings, or a lot of them are doing lifestyle photos for their website. So I help them with their colors. I help them with their fit, what to wear. So definitely my virtual Skype consultations. And of course, my book on Amazon, Ultimate Guide to Style from Drab to Fab.
Where would they find you? What's your social media and what's your websites that they should check out? We'll put them in the show notes.
Awesome. Website would be rayneparvis.com, and then social media, Rayne Parvis, and you can also find Style by Rayne on Facebook as well.
And and you do, I kind of remember you were doing work with matchmaking firms, people getting ready for dates and going back out on the dating market, right?
Absolutely. That's kind of how I started in this business.
Yeah, because your friends were always bugging you for, it seems to me that's one of our first consultations was, what do you really like and what do you do all the time? And you were always helping your friends get dressed up for dates.
Yes. Most of my friends at the time were 30-year-olds, early 30-year-olds, still dressing like they were 21 in the short mini skirts with their lady parts hanging out. We can't really do that when we're 35 anymore. And that's how I started. You actually helped me craft my letter to reach out to all the matchmaking agencies in town, which has really been just such a lucrative referral business for me for the past 10 years. And
you were emceeing something, right? Or running parties for something?
Yes, I started, in addition to working for the matchmaking agencies, I started hosting speed dating.
Oh, okay.
And single parties as well, which was a lot of fun. So I'd go up there, I'd give them free style tips, promote my book, and just make it a fun evening. I don't know, I like people. I like to party.
Well, yeah, because you used to be a stand-up comedian, so you can handle that stuff easily.
Yes.
So what kind of parting thoughts for our people out there, or we call them the screwballs, that are listening to this podcast on running their own business, and they might be in a cubicle and just hoping that they can do it? What would you tell them?
I would say no matter what you do, just keep moving forward and keep your eye on the prize and goal setting and get into a great community. And if you fail, it's really not a failure. It just means it's pushing you in a different direction.
Great advice. Now, how should they reach you? Just through those links you gave us, or any particular way you want to be reached? Which is best to reach you?
No, anyways, fine. Probably through email, and that would be Rayne@RayneParvis.com.
And Rayne is spelled Rayne, folks. Rayne Parvis, Parvis, Rayne Parvis. So it's Rayne@RayneParvis.com, right?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much, Rayne, for taking the time out of your day to reconnect. And I know these people are going to love you. We'll have thousands of people listening to this, and you're going to get buried with business from this, I guarantee you.
Well, thank you for having me and giving me the tools to get out of my parents' garage.
You're welcome. So, everybody, that was episode 15 with Rayne Parvis. And again, make sure you check out 14 with superhero Barbara Cookson, and 13 with the copywriting, which is the #1 skill I've had. And we'll have all these links in the show notes for you. And you definitely want to learn how to make a website yourself. We'll be doing a whole training session on that in one of our future episodes. So we'll see you screwballs later.